the Spark said, I know Gushue said that they did have some stuff planned, and don't believe we've seen this from the Spark yet. I know the damage dealer heavy comp with Crystal on the Widowmaker, but
we've seen his Widow in the past. Yeah. It's always been good, and there's another one. This time it's a headshot. Crystal trying to get out. Yes, I think it's about time the shock started focusing on him a little bit more. Is it too late, though? The damage may already have been done in this fight now as Gushue brings the pile driver down and finishes Violet with a slap to the back of the head. And the Spark easing in now to mid-round, looking pretty comfortable.
I mean, still only about 30% on the points. These games can get flipped pretty quickly. The Shock, they make some adjustments. They're going to play Violet. No, still sitting here on the Moira. So you got Moira, Lucio, and Brigitte. Big anti there from Maybe. But Sinatra is going to be the lone damage dealer. You're going to put his Zarya away. You don't really get a ton of value with the grabs here. Sombra's a better option.
This makes life a little bit harder for Crystal to find those easier pickoffs, but Rhea found two. Pulse Bomb. Rascal and Super knocked into the next dimension, and now he can just chill, sit in the back line and find some heads. Shoykoben over the edge.
I mean, the scope critical accuracy for Crystal hasn't been great, but still putting down 25% of the overall team damage right now is we take a look from Rhea's POV. The pulse bomb comes through. It's actually an EMP that comes out from Godsby, and they use the nano on a Godsby as well to keep him alive through.
Super could not have jumped away and avoided taking down extra teammates with that pulse bomb because he was EMP'd. Love to see it, but here it is, a bit of a better start to the fight. This time the Shock target the Widowmaker and remove it immediately. Sound barrier helps a little bit for the Spark, but they're down to half strength. With a minefield outside and many enemies inside the point, Rhea has to improvise. Pulse bomb attempt, no dice.
Yeah, I believe actually connects with Violet, but he uses the Moira Fade ability, gets out of harm's way there as the Spark just trying to take this to 99. So what you can do here if you're the Spark is you can switch now to a traditional 3-3, which you see Godspeed going over to Zarya, you get Crystal on the Brig, and you think you have the advantage against the Sombra Moira.
Sinatra playing forward, gives a health pack so he can remain a little bit longer and get closer to that next EMP, or perhaps his first, as it were. Shoykoben perched in the window here. Gonna try and mitigate as much of that poke damage as possible, but eventually these two teams are gonna have to fight. Rhea backed away, he was getting a little bit low. And you can definitely see Violet going now for that coalescence, and it works beautifully. Bebe just gets smashed by it, and Super, oh Crystal, you're not getting away with that one. Boot back, that was almost dangerous for Super, as he could have been sent sprawling by IDK.
In this time though, you're gonna see the Shock go back to the spawn. You'll probably try and see them get Zen, probably get Reinhardt out potentially, and then the Zarya. So yep, that's exactly what they're gonna do. They don't want to stay on this because they use the EMP, they use the Primal, they use the Coalescence, 3 big abilities. Then you allow the Spark to build up some big ultimates like the Grab and whatnot and have nothing for it. Sinatra decides to change, so he goes back, but then they decide to keep him on the Sombra.
Well, let's see if they can make use of him outside of that EMP, because it's unlikely he'll have that one for this fight. Especially if the Spark want to start it off aggressively like this. Rhea just got hacked. And the rest of the Spark just backing up a little bit here. Both teams having used Rally, and the Spark is hoping just to use it to top themselves up before they engage. This time, Sinatra's been able to use to get himself closer to that EMP. It might actually be a factor in this fight in the end. Oh, no Graviton for Godspeed. He got hacked by Sinatra, but Sinatra had to give up his life in order to waylay the Zarya. And it might take a bit more than that. Self-destruct demon. Gushue's found 2, and it was Super to go down. The main tanks continue to trade blows. Violet is removed, though. Graviton Surge finds its mark. Rascal is not much of a concern for Gushue now that the Spark are about to win the round. Overtime has been activated, and there was a trigger as Super does return here on that Wrecking Ball. Booping Godsby out of the way, and now it's time to play Tetherball. Swinging around the point, there's the EMP. Super drops in, but Sinatra's taken down by Rhea after he gets that EMP off, and it is just Super now. San Francisco Shock tried to bring the heavy weaponry in the last few stages, but they are running out. So with Violet done, that will be round 1. The Spark themselves on the board early.
And it looks close in terms of the percentage, right? 100% for the Spark, 93% for the Shock. But it's really not that close because the Spark get up to 99-0 quick. They have like basically the 1 or 2 fights where they have to just dump on in, get some ultimates out, and get the switches that they want, and then they're able to just take it right back. So really good first round here from the Spark. Can they do it though when you have the compositions that are mirror? That is the question.
Absolutely. Is Bebe. This is Sinatra trying to make the play with the EMP. Notice that's just come online. He comes in immediately. I mean, you have to react to, I don't know what, you have a very small space of time. That was lightning fast. So you mentioned, Matt, the compositions now. Hangzhou not playing like the Widowmaker setup they had before. That's what really gave them the edge in that previous round. Let's see if they can hang with the Shock at their favorite comp.
Yeah, I mean, this is where teams really struggle against teams like the Shock and the Titans. As you see IDK fall first, is that you can get by and, you know, maybe do some nice things with the damage dealers. It's when it goes back to the mirror, the 3-3 mirror. Can you beat them at this game? We have not seen anybody really do it this far.
Reminiscent, Matt, of the Vancouver Titans. Teams start to get ahead against them until they have to play their game. And Super gets to be on that Reinhardt, which he's very comfortable with.
And with the way the meta is, you just kind of play rock, paper, scissors until you end up in this point. So eventually you're going to get to the point where you're running the 3 tanks, the 3 supports. Can you force them off of that, have enough percentage, then win the fights when it's necessary?
And the equilibrium state of compositions favors the Shock. That's the bottom line. We'll see. Godsby wants to push in. His Zarya's been much improved as of late, but Sinatra's well ahead in terms of that charge. Godsby is trying to work from a different door than the rest of the team, but now they're going to try and rush down Super. That was a good little decision to make, to try and force the Reinhardt out of position. It hasn't quite worked though. Super is still on his feet, and that's the Transcendence. This is where the Shock try and snap back and take control. Graviton comes out a little bit late, but still it works for the Spark. They hold the Shock together, and now a sound barrier also has been committed to the fray. Gushui, deep trouble for him. He gets back in the corner though, and now they'll cover their retreat with a self-destruct. The Spark have a chance to take a breath. Rascal extended deeply, but it gave them IDK, and there's a shield up. Super says no as Gushui tries to find an opening.
As it's like going in favor of the San Francisco Shock, but you do have Godsby
4v4
still here as he's getting close to another grab.
3v3.
Both Zarya is going crazy right now.
The Shock still control the point though, Matt. They've had it this whole time. The Spark need to get a clean break and take if they want to start getting percentage themselves. It's not looking good. Sinatra's charged up. He is really ready to rumble. And with Gushui going down, another Graviton in the fight for Sinatra. Easy come, easy go.
Oh, he is so sick on Zarya, man. You know, Godsby builds up to the grab pretty quick as well. Both as Sinatra getting a grab every minute, a minute and 10 seconds for Godsby. But man, you know, being able to just use the grabs, then turn around a few seconds later, both of them get back up to 80. You got to get a touch here for the Spark.
Crunch time for the Spark, and their last chance in the round to get somewhere. Shattered from Super. Not much to be found there. Crystal with the rally now. As the Spark want to step forward, Godsby is stunned briefly as he tries to step onto the point, but it doesn't seem to bother him too much. There is a Graviton surge waiting to be let go. Godsby, oh no! Jacob eats it up, but there it is. It's taken away from them in a blink of an eye. And now the San Francisco Shock have a sound barrier. They control the point. They push forward. Sinatra's grab also in, but it don't matter. They were in control the whole time. And that's one way of firing break already. This match is going to be delivering not just sparks flying. I'll give you the big tip. One apiece here on Lijiang Tower.
So, you know, Godsby was so worried about Trioven eating that Graviton surge. And, you know, he just tried to, like, get in angles and, like, lob, you know, some alternate fires on the Zarya to make it seem like, you know, the grab was coming down. You know, pushed up, tried to force Matrix out. You know, even put some pressure on him to fly away. But great positioning for Trioven. Rhea also eats Sinatra's on the back end, so, you know, given a, you know, maybe an opportunity to turn around.
Yeah, the difference being that the Spark required their grab to win the fight, Matt. Here's how it goes down, though. I mean, you saw Godsby, he tried very hard to set this one up as well as he could. He thought he was clear. He thought Trioven was far enough to his right that he didn't have the Matrix on him, but he was wrong.
The Diva's getting so good in the Overwatch League at just, you know, taking that Matrix down to the wire, having that positioning down to be able to eat those at a distance.
Oh, that's a big mistake from Sinatra, Matt. He takes one step too far forward and takes a huge burst of damage that can't be healed up. That'll do it.
You know what I'm happy to see from the Spark is that they're not playing scared. Like, they're not letting the Shock, like, right there, the Shock just run onto the point and push at them. And a lot of other teams are like, oh, let's just back up, let's back up. Right there, they take the fight to them. I think good things happen in this mirror with the Reinhardts when you're the aggressive team. You start to build more charge on your Zarya, put down more damage, you force the other team on the back foot.
I'm pleased, Matt, they identified where they could punish the Shock.
Yeah.
They saw a weakness, they saw Sinatra take a truckload of damage. It was a fire strike and something else. Oh, Super, same just happened to him. This is a repair pack, yes. Super gets topped up in a pinch, and now the Transcendence comes out from the Spark. They want to maintain control at this point. They know how important, Matt, winning that first fight is. There's the grab. Super's caught up, and now winning the Transcendence. Immediately going to be brought into the fight by Vita. Gushui goes low, though. He tried to go for a wild charge, but he goes down. And the Shock look poised to retake this point now. The grab wasn't quite enough, apparently, and Sinatra has one of his own for the next fight.
And you know, the charge from Gouche makes sense if you have a big combo to go with it. If you're going to launch the self-destruct in there, they don't have that at that time. So he actually uses the charge, and Super just looks in his direction as he's charging on out and uses the shatter. You see where Violet ranks, you know, in terms of, you know, his first kill rate on Zenyatta.
Pretty high.
Almost 10%. It's pretty nuts. But nice heads-up play from Super there using the counter shatter.
All right. Gouche, though, has one of his own. It's going to be Shatter v Grab in this fight. Oh, the poke war's looking real good for the Shock now with the Graviton Surge to tie them all together. It's elementary, my dear Watson. Gouche at IDK already get obliterated. And Super didn't have to use the Shatter. He gets it in that fight. Support ultimates aren't really being stressed out of the Shock either.
Yeah, I mean, and Bebe doesn't use Transcendence there. They just kind of give it up. They do use his self-destruct to kind of force, you know, potentially not the follow-through coming from the Shock, but you see the Shock now pass the Spark in terms of percentage at the top, where 68 average energy right now from Sinatra. I mean, that is just so... But when you let him get this charged up and they just kind of like pocket him, I mean, there's nothing you could do about it. I mean, he is just nuts.
The longer the Shock hold the point, the longer that Sinatra stays charged. By the looks of things, there's the Shatter attempt. It was Godspeed knocked down due to the Transcendence, so the Shock couldn't capitalize or remove the enemy's Aya from the fight early. Now, Gouche might have a try himself. Look for a Shatter now, as he wants to push forward, put Super in a compromising situation. There's the Shatter. It's pretty darn good. Knocks Violet and Moth both to the ground. Two supports, but Violet gets up and gets the Transcendence off. The Shock is still in this fight, despite a solid Shatter from Gouche. Sinatra's in the backside now, forced to use his personal power. Oh, Godspeed again! He sends it straight down to Gurgler, and now Gouche's going to get caught up inside of Graviton himself. Self-destruct over the back. Gouche tries to shield it. Nice little 360, keeps his team up, but Crystal's looking haggard in the back line, and now Choyoman will chase him down. The Shock have stayed in control at this point the entire fight, man, and with that Graviton E, once again, they're looking to propel themselves on top in this map. Rhea charged against the wall, even with the Transcendence, it couldn't keep him inside his mech, and Bebe now trying to stay alive. Not even close to being enough. Gouche will be held at the door. It's a one Reinhardt policy on this point. Apparently San Francisco take map one.
It's a very good map, though, from the Spark. They looked like they could go at times toe-to-toe in the Reinhardt 3-3, but Choyoman eating those Graviton Surges was the real difference maker, the Spark. See if they can bounce back in map number 2.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Into the iris.
And our match of week 3 is definitely kicked off in an exciting fashion, but the Shock come out on top with map number 1. Lijiang was a close-fought affair. So many Graviton Surges eaten by D.Va's defense matrix.
Yeah, I think the last one from Godspeed launches it from far away. I think when they get that first pick in the fight, they don't want to actually invest the grav, but I think they know they're against the clock. And the fight extends for a while. The Shock do a good job just kiting around the mid-pole. They're not taking any damage. He probably feels like they need to invest the grav to initiate, but it's just from so far away. I mean, you're not going to land that.
By the way, longest map win streaks. The Outlaws set it with 18 wins in a row, and the Shock are rapidly encroaching on it. Titans have dropped a map here or there this stage, so that is why their record is not as stellar. But again, Shock looking to keep going undefeated, man. I mean, it's crazy. This team just come out and started slapping 4-0s everybody, giving them the biggest L's.
I think with the competition in the league this year, it's also extremely impressive that you have the Titans up there, the Shock as well. I think that with how close some of the teams are, right, and are like 6 through like 12, 13 range. I think it's really impressive being able to not just drop a map. Like obviously, like you favor the Shock in a lot of these series, but sometimes you come in, you drop a game here, drop a game there. They just dominate.
It is a big deal, especially how competitive the matches are, especially through the mid-table. Adora comes in for Crystal. This is a switch that we have seen the Spark make on multiple occasions. Sometimes it would imply to us that we should expect to see more Brigitte play. It's generally what Adora has shown us more of, whereas Crystal was, at least tried to go over towards some of the damage dealers. It is Paris for our next map.
Yep, Paris. The next map.
That's American translation.
Yep, just letting everybody know. Both teams undefeated on the map. Point A here in the back. We'll see what the Shock do on defense. It looks like, okay, so this is kind of what we were talking about in our previous series, where you see point B on your screen. If you don't run something that you can run on point B at the start of your point A defense, it does spiral out of control at times. We'll see if the Spark want to match it, though, which at least early on it looks like they do. They're okay matching this.
It's interesting. Normally we'd see, Rascal playing Batiste on some of these maps for the Shock.
Yeah.
I've actually started to go away from that a little bit and back to the Brigitte.
Or if you're the Shock, I mean, what do you have to gain about practicing that, right? I think you can, run Sinatra on some more Sombra. Get him really strong on the hero that you can use, later in the playoffs.
I mean, the Shock should know exactly what the Spark are playing here, Matt. They played at the same thing yesterday. Oh, was it the day before yesterday? Wow. There you go. 2 days back, so they've seen game footage. But they come out with something that's awfully standard by their standards. Here comes that point A push, though. Hangzhou are set up. Godspeed, a lot of damage so far already.
Your scariest scenario here, if you're the San Francisco Shock, is you lose the point. And,
that was beautiful.
And Godspeed does not have to use Grav. I think that is your scariest thing. He chucks in right as the EMP comes out.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts the Shock. The EMP would have been big there, but Godspeed is still able to grab them together, so no one from the Shock can capitalize. Rhea is desuited, and Super is still causing problems here. No Primal Rage, though, so it gets burnt down.
I think, though, you use the EMP. You want to switch to Zarya in the second half anyway. So, with the way Sinatra builds grabs, you expect him to catch up rather quickly. The Super will also change here to Reinhardt. Really good point A attack, though, from the Spark. We hyped him up in the pregame. Godspeed, building up that grab really quick. Able to drop it down in a minute. You have some ultimates to work with. The big ones to support.
You're happy with this now if you're the Spark. The Shock gonna have to double down. Super switching over towards the Reinhardt, of course. So I mean, he's pretty happy in the 1-to-1 against Gooshway. The problem is Gooshway has Primal Rage. So if Super really thinks he's going to be shielding his team from a lot of damage, he's dreaming, because Gooshway is going to knock him about, make it impossible to stand where he wants to stand. Abuse his lack of mobility. That's the Primal Rage, and already everybody's getting knocked around like bowling pins. Super trying to stay up, but Trichoban's already gone down. IDK once more with the punishment. Shadow, though. Super trying to come forward. It was Gooshway that was starting up very briefly there. Rascal come up behind him, I would say. No deaths yet on the Shock. They are holding off despite a lot of ultimates being thrown their way, but now the sound barrier. This means the Spark, they're getting really serious. Transcendence from Violet, though, to answer, and the healing is good for the Shock. It's enough that they can hold out for now.
And now the Spark, they allow the Shock to build up some ultimates. They didn't have the Zarya or the Reinhardt on the first point. Now they have both Earthshatter and Grav coming up. Sinatra probably wants to launch one into the wall. He connects with Gooshway.
Oh, Gooshway! Can he hold his L for me and take it back to spawn? Thanks, bro. Just the one player caught in that grab, but it was enough. Getting rid of the initiation tool.
You will come back with a grab of your own. Grab self-destruct as a combo. But just like the first Unleashing Tower, when they did use the grab, Super with a really nice counter shatter. So you don't have a support ultimate for the San Francisco Shock, but if they do use that Graviton Surge, they can't all just run in. They have to be aware that Super does have this Earth Shatter. And maybe they don't realize it because he just switched to the Reinhardt. They don't really gauge how much damage he's put down at this moment.
IDK's been getting aggressive in these last few fights, wanting to play that front line a fair bit.
Just don't use this from range.
How charged
Please.
is Godspeed considering he just got here? Yeah, you don't want him to just throw it. He's got to respect Troy Hoban's ability now to eat these crabs. Super. A little bit split from the rest of his team. I tell you what, you're playing with fire, Godspeed. It works out though. This time it pays off beautifully. Gets Rascal and Sinatra caught up, and now when they drop immediately, Super now falls back into a corner and removed. This is just stall now from Violet. Paris has proven to be quite treacherous for the Shock thus far. That map win streak is hanging in the balance here. And the attack looks pretty good from Hangzhou. There it is. Plenty of time in the bank to boot.
This is the spark we've been waiting for since the beginning of the season. Really fast push here on Paris. Taking it to the Shock with 4 minutes in the time bank. Really good offense from the Hangzhou Spark.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
There, as you see the final moments of that attacking round from Hangzhou, and you see that Graviton from Godspeed now. You could see, or at least he could see, I didn't see it initially, that Troy Hoban was nowhere near
Pretty
close
far
enough
away.
to eat that. So that is definitely makes sense. You go for a grab at cases like that, and they're not going to get out of it. He's looked excellent, Godspeed. I mean, that bomb was tough for him. Still did fine. Obviously, a couple grabs got eaten, but it's less his fault than something you congratulate Troy Hoban for.
I mean, he's getting a grab every minute. 70% average energy, 5 final blows, 11 limbs, 0 deaths.
I mean, he is way ahead of Sinatra in grab charge time. Sinatra did play Sombra
Yes,
at
he
the
did
start
play
of that
Sombra.
round, though. So again, it is a small sample size.
But still, I mean, Godspeed doing 33% of his team's damage.
Yes.
And the next highest
That's
is Gushui.
1/3, by the way.
The next highest is Gushui, 20%. So,
So-
the Shock look like they will play the. This is what they ran in the past, the Reinhardt 3-3, but instead of running the Brigitte, they run Rascal and the Batiste. So, a little bit extra damage.
Yeah, the healing also is more consistent. The healing from this third support doesn't require you to be, in combat triggering Inspire as Brigitte.
Yep.
You just hit them with that noob tube.
And you have the Immortality Field, the Amp Matrix when it comes up. As Rascal is that hard, a damage dealer, right? I mean, that's
Always
what
has
he's always played. So you put him on a hero like this, kind of combines both the damage dealer and the support.
He's actually a nasty McCree player, is what we've seen from Rascal on previous rosters. Here comes the Amplification Matrix, though, and I tell you what, you feel pretty good standing behind this one with a team like the Shock. Not too many projectiles that would be boosted by this one. You see that throw down the Immortality Field. That will now be destroyed, and the Shock have to retreat inside.
Yeah, but you don't want to
Building.
go in there. I mean, Gushui's got a Primal Rage. I mean, because everybody's so lumped up together, he's able to just put down tons of cleave damage. Let's see when he decides to use it, to jump up.
Oh, that's a
catches
great
Violet.
pick.
Oh.
There was no way Violet was getting out of that one. In a pinch, Gushue identifies a critical weakness for the Shock. And now with their pushed up so far, there isn't actually really anywhere to run. They try and get back to spawn, but they are going to get thumped.
If you were to just be tuning in and we hit the overall records at the top of the screen, you would think this is like a match between like two of the best teams in the league, where the Shock are, the Spark are 5-5. Like, this does not look like a 5-5 team. I mean, they are, but we've seen this in the past from them though. They come out and they look great against the team. The next game they come in against the team they should probably crush, and they end up losing, or it's a close series. As Super jumps up on the high ground there. This will be a second amplification matrix from Rascal, but you don't have any projectiles really that can get anything done with it.
No, Zenyatta, Diva,
with the grab.
Wait, the split's too much. I guess he's using it for himself as well. All right, so Super needs that Shatter. Gushue has been very well behaved and saved that Primal Rage. Shatter comes down to catch IDK. That could be big, but no follow-up because Bebe's there healing him up. Rascal, the Immortality Field is taken down by Rhea's self-destruct, and now the Shock really just have to face the music notes. Most of the Spark playing together around this pillar, using it to break line of sight, and this is what we were expecting to see. Never get in between Gushue and the rest of his team, because he'll primal his way all the way back through. No kills from that ability now. Bebe going down. The Shock have benefited from a longer fight here. Gushue's not going to get any burst healing from anywhere. Adora would have to give him a repair pack, but that's all he's going to get, and it's not enough to overcome the healing. Super drops down. Gushue, don't you know that only a stand can kill a stand?
So, you know, they're there for the Shock. You actually ended up using both your support ultimates at the same time. They used Sound Barrier in Transcendence, and I don't know how Violet did it, but he's able to pick off Bebe as IDK uses Sound Barrier. But we ran the graphic earlier, right? You get those first pickoffs from your Zenyatta. It's a huge, huge win for your team. He's already going to have another Transcendence. As Gushue switches over to Reinhardt here, you want a match going into the end.
Shock really look like they can make this map competitive now. They want an early grab, though. They don't want to let Godspeed get there. They want to try and eliminate that Zyder as quickly as humanly possible. Rally from Adora. That's going to shrug off a lot of the poke damage, the chip away, as both these teams try and find a weak target. And there's a grab there now. Notice Troy Coben's positioning here, trying to set himself up in between both teams. There's a grab that connects from Godspeed. Sinatra looks like he wants to hold his, but the Transcendence now is going to give the Shock a chance to fight back. Shatter hits Godspeed. He'd already used his grab, but they'd love to get rid of him. Bebe kept him topped up, though, with that Transcendence, and now the Amplification Matrix is thrown to the backside. Now the Spark are forced to eat this damage. They're held in place by the Graviton from Sinatra. Troy Coben is low, but he will be topped up, and now the Shock have broken the Hangzhou Spark. They put themselves now in a spot where they are going to be even on time bank, if not ahead, and it's a matter of just cleaning up the remainder here of the Spark. That'll be it. The San Francisco Shock step up to the plate. Both these teams looking evenly matched on their Paris attacks.
Oh yeah, I mean that's a right hook right back at the Hangzhou Spark.
1 second between them.
Yeah, I mean only 7 seconds between the two teams, as it'll be 4:08 for the Shock. See what happens in overtime after this.
That was weird. It showed. Yeah, so correction, obviously 7 seconds between these two time bank wise. Basically, they just both breezed through this map. Neither team has been able to accomplish much on defense, and the Shock will go with a pretty similar setup here. Interesting, they will go with the Ana, the Brig, or not the Zen here for Violet.
Yep. And then they start with the Sinatra Sombra again. So you're gonna have Violet. A few times you saw him, Revel, you saw him by Gushue. You know, he's a really easy jump target. He can play a little bit further back now. Sinatra's in the corner here. I actually thought for a second they may have spotted him as swinging wildly, but it'll be the Spark who will go with the 3-3. Winston is the main tank as you see a nade come in. No, that one just connects with Super as he gets beat up pretty badly. Needed to keep him alive.
That is classic San Francisco Shock, though. They will do that on Kings Road defense as well. Violet will play very aggressively forward, and they will try and win a fight early off a big Violet grenade. Not this time, as the bubble was there from Gushue. Probably because Super jumped on him, really. Rhea put to sleep, only very briefly, though. The Spark now trying to transition towards the point. Gushri getting caught up a little bit in between. Attempted body block there by Choikobin to keep him facing the Musi, but it's Moth that goes down first. Bebe finds that pick, but Adora is also down, and Gushri gets hit with a fat Bardic Grenade. Transcendence came in just in time as the Bardic Grenade dissipated from him, and now Gushri trying to get Choi out of that mech. Doesn't work.
And because you lost Moth early, you don't have the chance to build up towards a sound barrier. You're not running Zenyatta, so you don't have a Transcendence. It'll be the nano boost here used on the Super. He's got Primal Rage to use. This may save the point for the Shock.
Bebe was the one that opened it up in the first place, but him getting picked off. Yeah, that's the retreat for the Spark now. Shouldn't be too upset they have a Graviton to bring into the next fight. But again, it'll be that interaction. You know, whose ultimate is able to have more impact, the Graviton or Sinatra's EMP?
They got them off basically at the same time.
Yep.
In the last attack. Let's see what they decide to do here. That'll be the EMP.
That is big.
Yeah.
Everyone with an ultimate has the ability to use it taken away by that EMP. And then the rest of the Shock charge up their ultimates off the back of what Sinatra has laid down.
I mean, it is not exactly, you know, horrible for the Spark, though. The EMP comes out plus Rally. So you will be going into the next fight with a big ultimate advantage. Everything but your Transcendence. You don't have like an EMP that could take Sound Barrier offline, so you can use it a little bit more freely. So.
EMP is forced ult economy. It's forcing Hangzhou to save them up.
Where they might not have saved them.
Rhea hacked as he moves in. That's a decent amount of poke damage to the Body Grenade. It's going to make this one even harder. Super gets a big heal, and then Primal Rage. Sound Barrier comes out from the Spark, though. They want to double down and commit to this fight properly. Only the one player caught inside a grab, and that was Violet. He was taken down by IDK, and the Primal Rage from Super will probably buy more time for the Shock than anything else. That's what they're looking to do, so they can get that grab off the EMP, should I say, from Sinatra. That's what they were looking for. Super doing a great job to sort of throw disarray into the Spark's ranks and allow them to get a good ult off.
Yeah, the EMP actually connects with Bebe, so you don't get a chance to use the Transcendence to keep everybody alive. But the Spark, still with some numbers here. You just have Sinatra, Super, and Choyobin.
They've only got 3, though.
Around the point.
Quick stall there. Choyobin almost got body blocked by Gushway. Super's returned to the fight now, but just as Choyobin gets desuited, he's going to self-destruct so he can get his mech back, and the Shock have done a great job of keeping their numbers up on the point. Violet, a little bit out of position, play off that high ground, but is it alive long enough to keep Super that nano boost? And this could turn into yet another Primal Rage, which would be more stall and would be very dangerous for the Spark, who are playing on the point right next to the river. Adora needs to be careful. Super looking to knock him off, but now just trying to cut Adora out of line of sight so his team can't benefit from the rally. Stall's been very good for the Shock so far, but now they need to convert on this, Matt, and actually finish the fight.
I mean, only 25 seconds left here. This may be the final attempt from the Spark, as it seems like they have an idea that they have to go here. They're grouping up. You cannot wait for the respawners to come through, as they do get everybody here now. You just don't have a mech for real. Yeah.
Healing capacity is very good with an adder on the team. Super was very low, was brought up to full in a matter of moments. Right now on the point, 2 supports for the Hangzhou Spark are trying to force the Shock to come back, but it's another nano boots on towards Super. Again, he's not really in position right now. He'll have to use another jump to get there. He's a little bit low as well, but he has that damage mitigation. Rhea attempts to self-destruct, pushed off the point once more. Now the Transcendence coming in from Bebe. Godspeed's charge up in the back line, looking to try and pressure Trick over, but he's breaking line of sight. Stall, and more. Stall from the Shock, and now a Sound Barrier to help them out last this damage even more. There's the EMP though. 4 players caught out by that one on the self-destruct to come in. Doesn't find too much. Choikobin getting his mech back though, and that is big. Rascal knocked off. He was low on health. Moth and Choikobin holding down the fort and the point, and Super gets yet another Primal Rage. Oh, this is messy. Both he and Gushway swinging fists. And it's going to be Choikobin getting decent at first. It's Gushway. He breaks through. Both Winstons go for the Primal Rage, but Gushway just a bit angrier. Rascal eventually is going to get burnt down, and finally the Spark took everything they had remaining. They got point A.
The final 30 seconds was 2 minutes and 30 seconds of gameplay there. As hey, the Spark, they want to go, right? You got that Graviton Surge online, Sinatra just switching over. At this point, any progress you can make towards here is a win for the Spark.
Gushway wants to keep going with this one. He does get by the grenade, but he drops on in and gets the extra damage. Graviton Surge going a long way for the Spark.
Another Primal from Gushway.
It's nutty. He's getting so much charge. The grab definitely helping as he's getting multiple players hit with each tick of that Tesla cannon. The Shock do not want to let this happen. They can't allow another checkpoint to go their way. but I have no choice. The Spark muscle their way in. Swagger on the point B and capture that too.
Getting a primal rage every 56 seconds for Gushui. That is nutty. As you know, and the primal rages aren't just like, he's not just displacing people. He's got 6 kills off of those primal rages. I mean, the primal rage at the end on the point. I mean, he hasn't come up with like 2-3 kills off of that. I mean, that is a shock hold on point A. Just insane play. As I remember Jody, I think, tweeted out like a week ago, OG maybe had the best mechanicals to kill in terms of primal rages. We probably got to talk about Gushui in the conversation as well.
I mean, I think we talked about him first.
Oh, yeah. Back in World Cup, right?
Very good at juggling, very good at getting maximum value, not only out of the jumps. Obviously, it's Winston. Some of you probably know this, especially Winston mains, but you can change how long or how far you jump with Winston to make sure you don't jump over people's heads or pull up too short. You use the W and S keys to do that. Obviously, flick your mouse up. So there's a lot of little techie things to do with Winston short jumping and such. And I think Gushui is an excellent showcase of those.
Yeah, most people out there just know to jump way too far away and then blame everybody else. It's pretty much the Winston tech everybody's used at home. So, we'll see the Winston play on defense here from the Spark. As
we have gone through too much pain.
Looks like look, I'm playing at your main tank. Follow me. I mean, they have these people at home. They're just sitting all in the back, scared to play. But
if you run into Matt and you don't listen to him when you're playing games.
Oh well,
he's going to call you out on broadcast.
There's a 90% chance I'm not in team chat. But you got the Reinhardt in play here for the shock at the beginning with the Batiste. So this is the same thing that we saw the last shock attack, where they ran in with the Batiste. You saw, really fast. You see how fast Rascal was building up to the Amp Matrix just by putting down the damage in the healing as well. I mean, he's going to get this rather quickly. He just kind of seems to use it pretty freely because you get it rather quick. You can amp your heals. You can amp also your damage on through.
It's a non-negligible amount of damage that Batiste provides as well, especially in the hands of someone like Rascal. And that's why the poke trades or the initial damage trades across the breach have been very good for the shock. That was what forced the Spark out of position in the first place. And now they can go to town. Fire Strike, by the way, through an Amp Matrix does 200 damage, so it's instant kill for most offense heroes.
And I mean, you just have Violet just have a volley of orbs and just kind of throw it on through with how good he is at getting those first
even
picks.
Even body shotting people with those.
Oh yeah.
Well, I feel like we've been here before.
We have.
Super. I think he's looking for a Shadow Mat. Not quite sure, but it's just the impression I get. His shield's low. He decides to go for the Shadow now. Getting rid of Rhea is good. And you saw Godsby immediately going for the Graviton Surge, though. So Shock wouldn't be able to push forward off it, but the Transcendence is going to go a long way for the Shock. Gushui very low. Rhea's not looking great. Even now the Sound Barrier. This is where the Shock kicking up another gear, but the Transcendence is going to slow them down once more. Now the Shock get a grab. That's an Amp Matrix. That shield won't last too long. Moth, very clever boop to try and expose the Spark to more of that amplified damage, but it wasn't really there. IDK had the Sound Barrier. And that's a lot of ults and not a lot of kills.
Yeah, both teams have to back up out of that, but Violet already working towards another Trance. As he is getting that way faster than Bebe here. You'll have that big sustain ultimate on the point. You won't have anything else. Godsby getting close to another grab here as well. He did a nice job of demeching Shoyoba the last time. They're going to engage with their Transcendence, try and push the Spark back.
They have to get Godspeed here. Otherwise, they won't have a Transcendence for the Graviton Surge. That'll be coming right about now. I guess they could try and hope Choikhoben's going to eat it up here, but the Spark are going to be under a bit of pressure. Godspeed trying to burn Choikhoben down, make it so he won't have a mech to even eat the grab with. Another Amp Matrix. Godspeed burst out so quickly. They needed the Graviton Surge there, but he wasn't ready for the face full of damage. It was about to get served up. And the San Francisco Shock get rid of that big threat. Now they can continue to fight this out. Absolutely perfect play from San Francisco to get over the line. This is some real hype.
Oh, that was sick from Rascal, being able to use that Amp Matrix, put a few bullets right in Godsby's head, eliminate him from using the grab. He's had 2,200 damage amplified here on the Batiste. We have more extra game after this. All right, so peep this. Rascal right now for the San Francisco Shock on the Batiste. He is getting a ult
every 35, 36 seconds right now. The Amp Matrix just, he's got the one death prevented with the Immortality Field. That's not really, fantastic, but 2,200 damage amplified, 24,000 healing, almost 25k healing thus far. An unreal game from Rascal.
That Amp Matrix, though, when you get him every 30 seconds, you're really going to start to do some work. Now the Shock, all they have to do is get one tick on this point with 2 minutes remaining in the round. There's plenty of time. And again, it's all about working the Spark down now. So Rascal and co. just going to be shooting at them. Try and pressure and stress the healing resources of Hangzhou. Just like this.
I mean, you see that, 7 amp matrices in 36 seconds on average to get them.
36 seconds each, man.
And they ain't using it for healing amplified. Only 138 heals amplified through, right? I mean,
yeah, I don't think they're about that. They don't so much protect as they attack. So, Immortality Field use here probably just keeps Recursion alive. I wonder if that punishes them now. It's a long cooldown. And that doesn't punish them.
Rio looks stunned on
You hate to see it if you are the Spark, but the Shock make it 2-0. Every time the Sparks start to look like they're improving, the Shock just get better. They're like Goku, man. The harder they get hit, the faster they come back. Half time, just around the corner.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile. And by State Farm. Whatever life brings your way, State Farm is here to help life go right.
Огонь по готовности. Apagando las luces.
The Shock have been dominant in Stage 2, but today, this match is tougher than ever. So far, they are able to win both of our first two maps, up 2-0 at the half over the Spark. Welcome back, everybody. We're here in the Blizzard Arena. We've got some awesome fans all around us, some Spark fans, some Shock fans, and this, of course, is our game of the week. We had to get front row seats for this one, guys.
It's actually been so good. I did not think it was going to be this close.
I thought it was going to be close, but not this close. It's been a little nuts. We did have to kick people out of their seats, so I feel bad.
That game one was pretty ridiculous. Let's take a look back at some of the best moments, and most of them in the early part of this game came from the Spark. They're running a lot of DPS against the Shock. And today, we finally got to see a little bit more of Crystal sniping this time.
Oh, it's so good. I love watching Crystal play. He plays a bunch of different heroes, and you wouldn't expect him to play the Widow on this team when they've got Bazzi on the bench, but Crystal's so good at so many things. And this is what we wanted to see from the Spark this whole time, their DPS comps.
This is what everyone told us the Spark were really good at in the scrims, until when they get to play DPS comps. But unfortunately, you can't always play DPS comps because next market still exists.
Yeah, that's very true. When they went back over to the Reinhardt v Reinhardt kind of compositions, it was was definitely San Francisco getting the better end, but I was still impressed at how Spark played in a couple of these rounds. They did make it close.
Yeah, slow motion, guys. Let's all just sit there in silence and watch the Zarya bubble. Nice stuff. All right, here we go. Control center. Who's been the star for the Shock so far? Is it Sinatra with his grabs that he's charging every minute? Is it Super with the slams and the charges? Choi, he ate 2 grabs in this game.
I mean, people mock me when I had my all-star team in San Francisco. All 6 of them. Choi has been clutching this. Not the first game he's just been negating
We
grabs.
mocked you
like
for your laziness, not for your decisions.
That's also not fair.
I
don't know about that.
I'm too lazy to
It's
respond to
all-star
that.
team. Choi Hyobin, though, definitely MVP candidate for that first game. When we went to game 2, though, this was a much more even fight. Not just at the beginning, it continued on. Both teams slugging back and forth. Great defenses on both sides, but ultimately, it went to all 4 capture points.
It really did. It was fantastic to see both of these teams battle it out because the Sparks stepped up when they went over to more default compositions. Kushwa's Primal Rages were super clutch. The San Francisco Shock were able to defend for a while, but ultimately both teams kind of collapsed in the first round, and then in time bank, Spark just managed to edge it out, and we had a super intense series.
It was the Enter the Matrix right here, which is just ridiculous. Rascal seems to have really found a hero that he works so well on and gets him enough play time, but
Easily the best, right? I would say.
it's not even a question.
And I love that the
Rascal's
casters
best
pointed out that Matrix never used for heals. He's always doing damage. A former DPS man, doing work there on the
And
healer.
Matrix is about dodging bullets. The other team on the other side, they got to dodge those bullets. And I want to see how many final blows Rascal had here.
Rascal popping off. This makes me want to go home and play Batiste afterwards. I'll tell
You're
you
not as good as him, Puckhead.
Definitely not.
Just admit it right now. Don't inflict that kind of fate on everybody that you queue with.
44% accuracy. That's all I'm saying, Josh. That's all I'm saying.
Is that with your heels?
In the end, though, it was the Shock, and they were able to capture that last point. Unfortunately, the Spark could not get there to contest at the end, and that keeps the Shock's win streak alive. And you saw it from the casters earlier. Here it is one more time. The Shock in Stage 2, dominant. They have now tied the Outlaws for the best win streak in history. That is 18 back-to-back.
Not to pile on the green wall, but you look at this list and one of these things is not like the others.
It is kind of strange that it was Outlaws that said it all the way back in Stage 1 of 2018. And they never really found that form again, but it's still a piece of history there for the Outlaws, and it'll take a while before anybody else is bumping them down the table.
So knowing that we have the Spark, who can be unpredictable, they got a lot of DPS power, but they can also hang in a 3-3. And the map is Eichenwald next. Is this a shoo-in for the Shock? Are they going to steal this win streak? Shock fans, you can answer, not just my analyst. This guy's nodded. He believes it. Do you believe it, Josh?
I think if it only goes to the first points, then maybe. But if you go to second on Eichenwald, you have to play 3-3, and the Shock are good at it.
Shock, you're going to
Yeah, I think so. I can see Spark putting up a great defense again, making use of more of their DPS compositions. But at the end of the day, the Shock are just a bit too good right now. That's why they're the top.
I love these answers. Keep watching, guys. We'll find out. Can the Shock make it happen? Game 3 coming up on the other side of this break.
They don't just play for a team. They play for every fan, every rival, every moment, every match. And when everyone watching expects the best, they perform with the best.
And there we go. Halftime breakdown definitely showed that the Shock are a nose ahead in this particular matchup. Despite there being a 2-0 series so far, both maps have given us some extremely fun, very exciting team fights between these two.
I mean, this is the outside of the Vancouver Titans. Like, some losses early on for the Shock where they experimented with some interesting lineups. Like, they would run like Smurf on Control and whatnot with Striker. But since they've settled on this lineup, outside of the loss to Vancouver, I can't remember them being challenged this much. As the Spark have come in today and I think given us a fabulous surprise as Crystal come back in for Adora. But I think if you're a Hangzhou fan, you just see the potential of this team, where they can get to. Eigenbald's up next. Potentially, this is a streak-breaking win if they win here for the Shock.
They will. Well, that's right. Yeah, the Shock would be with the record. It was mentioned in the halftime break. And yes, as a Hangzhou fan, you should see the potential here.
Oh yeah.
And if you don't like that, then you know what it was like to be a San Francisco Shock fan in Season 1.
Yeah, right.
That's how it goes.
But I feel like the Spark, this is a team that in Stage 3 and Stage 4, I feel like, let's say if the meta was just strictly just like Winston with like, some more damage dealers in the mix. You really like that team now, right? With, Gushui in the mix.
So obviously the Spark haven't played Eichenwald yet this season. Their defense is very standard. And they're going head-to-head with the Shock in terms of the 3-3 here. So, I mean, bold strategy, Cotton, etc. A little bubble there towards Super. It's unlikely he got a lot of chance for Sinatra off that one. Yeah, he's not hitting very hard right now. Doesn't matter, though, because God V isn't really getting a lot of charge himself now. Was that a Discord orb on Gushui? Did he just get hit with that one? If so, he has to be very careful. A bubble will cleanse that off, though. Oh, he's in deep trouble. Another Discord as Gushui just turned his back for a half second and got that put on him. Yeah, again, early damage trades. The Shock are very good at managing their resources to just get people low on health. Shokyobin's able to back around the corner. Super probably plays slightly more passively for the moment while the Diva returns back to the fray. But that D-suit on Rhea, that should be the green light. Things are about to start to get messy. Oh, Super! Trying to go for the shatter. He got stunned out of him. Good shield bash from Crystal there. And now Gushui's going to get a better shatter himself. He knocks Rascal to the ground. Sinatra goes for the grab. But who's going to be there to follow up? The answer is absolutely no one.
Yeah, Shokyobin sitting up on the high ground, kind of behind Godsby, probably trying to play for a defensive matrix play from up above. But he'll jump off the side as you do get a tick here for the San Francisco Shock. But the Spark hold on.
I mean, that's pretty impressive. It is not common to see a lot of these first point holds on Eichenwald. And the Spark are a team who don't have stage experience on this map so far yet.
I do think, though, I mean, you mentioned a great point. The grab comes through from Godsby. It'll be Transcendent. Just the resource management from the Shock is very good. The sound barrier is they're going to try and push onto the point. Sound barrier comes out from IDK as well.
Both teams going for that one. The Sparks will remain a little bit longer than the Shocks. And what does San Francisco use now? I mean, they're going to rally and try and get aggressive. Maybe they can find a pick. A lot of this comes down to Discord orb placement from the Zenyatas now in lieu of any real ultimate abilities to change the way the fight goes. Super got healed up very quickly there, and there it is. Gushui gets bopped by Sinatra, and that was with a Discord orb on Kim. The Shock found an opening, finally able to get rid of the main tank of the Spark. And that'll end the push here.
I mean, the Shock are so good at letting Super's health like dwindle down and get to the final second of being, resulting in death and just keeping him alive, and that allows for Sinatra to get aggressive, Shokyobin, Violet as well.
I mean, Rascal's always there with a repair pack just before he goes down. It's ironic, actually, considering how much Rascal and Super abuse each other when they play ranked together on his stream.
They're a hilarious duo to watch play with each other.
Super stream in general is great. If you want to see a stream where you can, how do I put this nicely? You can basically just abuse him all you like, and he'll just take it, and they'll fire back at you. He's very good-natured bloke, very good banter. But now it's all serious for Super and the rest of the Shock. They've still got a series to finish. Gushui charged up against the wall in the Transcendence. The Shock just bask in that one for a brief period. What's the setup here? Super would like a shatter, but he has to play a little bit aggressive to create enough space for the rest of his team to push up.
Yeah, but I mean, they're just letting Sinatra just farm these grabs out as the shatter comes down. Gushui trying to prevent some follow-up as he gets low again. There's the first kill.
Look, Gushui would have been fine under any other circumstances, but he had to play aggressively to protect the two of his teammates that were knocked down. So yeah, he keeps him alive, but he gives up his own life instead, and the Shock will definitely take that any day of the week. They lose Super though. The Transcendence is going to keep the Spark nice and durable as the fight starts to reach a fever pitch, and a sound barrier now. The Spark are using a lot of support ultimates, but the Shock have one of their own. Here's the rally going to be combined. Self-destruct could be huge, but no, Rhea doesn't find anything with it, and Sinatra is able to catch IDK out with the help of Rascal. The shield bash, Rhea's discorded.
And I'm surprised we didn't say Gushue go for the shatter there. They take out Super, there's no main tank in the way, they end up using the self-destruct, but they don't end up shattering as Gushue's behind like 1 or 2 players. At that moment in time, if you solo shatter Sinatra and take him out, that is totally worth
Completely
in that
acceptable.
scenario. I
Yep.
mean, yeah.
So after a slow start, the Shock have really gotten their skates on. I'm not just talking about Moth. Godspeed's got a Graviton in from the backline, but look at the big hit that Gushue took. This is where the Shock could start to lean into it a little bit more, and Gushue's already gone down. No, Reinhardt now! And the Transcendence for the Shock. They've got everything they need. The Shatter again has been neutralized, and Gushue's not around to use it. And the Spark get absolutely bodied out the gates of the 3rd stage of this map.
It's a Shock looking to set a very good time here. They have 3 minutes plus to get all the way to the end of the castle, as you still have the shadow for Gushue. Like, when are you going to use it? Is Sinatra with another grab? Peep this. I mean, both Zarya's playing pretty sweet. Is Gazi getting a grab every 48 seconds, Sinatra every 59. So, you know, both of these Zaryas able to just chuck them in whenever. I mean, they've been so good throughout the series. It's a bubble on the Super. That's a lot of damage that goes down into that. You're charging him up.
He can't escape from Sinatra's damage. Oh, he almost got desuited. Sinatra would have let the grab go immediately if that had been the case, but he doesn't quite get rid of the enemy diva, so patience will have to be his virtue now. Using the charge just to put pressure and damage on Gushue's shield, and he's looking low. Remember, every second Gushue's shield is down is 1 second. He can get discorded and then suffer a lot of damage. Notice Tricoven's positioning, sitting up in the backside here, expecting a grab to come from Godspeed at some stage, and it hasn't quite yet. Godspeed's been holding off on this one now, and the shatter comes in. It's going to be Super there. Got knocked down by that one. Gushue trying to save his team. It's going to be the sound barrier for the Spark, but Tricoven still gets IDK. Now self-destruct on the point. Violet trying to hide away from that one on the right-hand side, and he gets Godspeed. The aggression from the Zenyatta of San Francisco looks so good here. Now it's just Rhea trying to stay alive, and Moth now steps up to the plate. The big wrinkled brain veteran of this squad, leading them now to a map completion.
When Sinatra just chunks down Rhea there, they have to dedicate resources. They have to use the armor pack on Rhea to keep him up. Then they don't have anything for Gushue. That buys the Shock some space. And then what happens? They have to transcend a little bit early. You don't have anything for that grab that comes out from Sinatra. Really good play from the Shock. Let's see if the Spark can answer on their offense.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Огонь по готовности.
Just a huge job on Godspeed's plate today to try and manage the impact of Sinatra across the battlefield. He's done a decent job, Matt. 31% of his team's overall damage on that Zarya, keeping in step with Sinatra in terms of ult generation.
Yeah, I mean, Sinatra, though, doesn't drop their in the whole first half
Zero
on their
deaths.
attacks. 0 deaths, 80% average energy. I mean, Godspeed still has 66 average energy in that first half, which is a nutty stat.
Itself, it's just, it's not enough.
It's about where the damage goes as well.
I mean, Rhea can't let himself get chunked down that far because that forces you to use the armor pack of Brigitte and support ultimates too early, and it's just too easy to farm grab when you're just letting the diva just getting chunked down like that.
If you watch tennis, you know about the difference between an unforced error and a forced error, I guess you could say. The Shock are forcing errors out of the Spark by applying a lot of pressure to just the right targets. We talked about resource allocation and management. So far, it's looked good. We're going to have the Batiste here on defense for the Shock.
Yeah, and I mean, you see Rhea took 5,300 more damage than Choyobin in the same amount of time
Which
played.
is almost 10 mechs worth. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Just to put it in perspective for you. Here comes the push from the Spark, though. Look at Gooseway's health bar. Watch that up the top of the screen because that is the most important resource the Spark have right now. That's why they had to back away. And his shield is low. This is where the Shock start stretching their legs a bit.
And look, I mean, the shield gets low, you're forced to defense matrix, Rhea then gets pushed back, now he's low, and it just forces you to keep backing up. Hey, guess what's up? We got an amp matrix here from Rascal in the first 30 seconds or so.
That shield is going to get wrecked.
Yep. And they're in open space too, yeah, and as soon as it gets wrecked, everybody has to run away. But look, I mean, just the damage he can put down on Batiste, it adds up. And, you have Sinatra just getting so aggressive, putting the damage as here's the signature Shock spawn camp.
Yeah. And the Spark can't fight. They want to try.
Nope.
After losing Gushwe, though, they are turning around and trying to trade blows back with the Shock, but Sinatra's very charged up. The Spark no longer have a shield to hide behind, whereas Super can provide cover for his players as they get aggressive. Reinhardt is so important in these compositions.
Yeah, and we'll see how fast we get another amp matrix, and what it results in is Sinatra with a grab already. You have Super, the Shatter. We'll see what they decide to do from Sinatra's POVs. He's looking for the diva here, and as soon as Rhea drives by, you may not even need to use it. They've lost the Zenyatta on the other side, and Rhea, they know the mech's getting low. Violet's going to be able to finish him off. You have the immortality field to do it.
There is no way the Spark were going to win that fight without a Transcendence anyway, Matt. But Violet just gives them a huge pick. And in that case, when Zen has Transcendence, he's absolutely priority number one to get rid of or protect, depending on which team he's on. But now, because of that, the Shock didn't bother using Graviton. They're like, well, I mean, we don't need to do that. They're missing a support, a huge part of their damage.
I mean, it's great that you have some ultimates online here for the Hangzhou Spark, but you have everything here available for the Shock. And it's going to be the Amp Matrix to kick things off. This will get the shield burst down.
This splits the Spark.
Yeah, and it just forces him to wait. And I mean, he gets it every 30 seconds, so it's not like it's going to be something where you're going to miss having it for a while.
He gets 10% of the time back he spent waiting for the ultimate in time that he stalled off. Like a 3 or so seconds that stays in place. So, Sinatra playing the back line here. Super just trying to break line of sight to keep his shield up for as long as possible. Violet needs to be careful in the back line, though. He does not want to go down here. Looks like he was given a repair pack then.
But look at the damage that Godspeed, Crystal, and Rhea are taking. Nobody's taking any damage here for the Shock.
And look, he's going to back away. Remember, burst healing is few and far between. It's just Crystal giving repair pack or a Transcendence coming out for Baby. That's the only way it's going to come. So the Spark can't afford to take so much damage when they're not even fighting on the point. Shatter comes in. Rhea knocked down and lays it out of his mech. He goes for the self-destruct to try and get it back. Super keeps the shield up now. Both teams, dual eyes of the storm. A lot of irises being entered here. But no kills. Rhea got his mech back, at least remember that. He used his self-destruct to get it, but that took away a combo piece that the Spark would otherwise have had. No grab bomb for them now. They're going to do it the old-fashioned way. Fisticuffs. Super backs away to the corner now. Sound barrier for the San Francisco Shock, and that gives a chance for Super to go aggressive. Try and build another shadow maybe, but his positioning, not great. He's getting a lot of healing from the high ground, though, but Rascal is not able to keep him up. It's fine, though. There's a Graviton Surge thrown right into the midst of the Hangzhou Spark, and they are all tied together. But Baby Bay and IDK holding the fort. Rascal might have to get involved now, and he finds IDK as he tries to get back around the corner. Rascal has another amp matrix if needed. Juiceway getting Choyobin is big, but Rascal's about to deal some serious damage. Baby can't get away. The healing is there. Violet just knocks him down. Between him and Rascal, they're unstoppable on the Shock. Now have the largest amount of maps consecutively won in the Overwatch League, and they have taken this series away all in one fell swoop. The Shock have done it 3-0. There are more maps to come, and you better believe that Hangzhou need a quick pick-me-up. We'll be back with that one in just a moment.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Огонь по готовности. Огонь по готовности. Огонь по готовности.
Let them up.
Experience tranquility.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everybody. I talked to the Hangzhou Sparks at halftime, and they told me that the Sparks have made some drastic changes in the past 3 days. According to the team, they are trying to go for a more aggressive playstyle, and although they've lost today's match, the team is feeling confident that they found their playstyle and confident that they could pull off some more wins in the near future. That's all for me. Back to you, casters.
Thank you very much, Danny. And yeah, they look more aggressive, right? At least they're trying to use this 3-3 composition that they seem to be really enjoying a little more aggressively. Again, it's tough to do that against a team that it probably sort of sets the bar for this kind of play. Them and Vancouver together really love to play aggressive 3-3.
Yeah, but I think it's definitely, I mean, if this is something they just changed in a few days, I think with more time, more practice, I think it's just how we talked about how great the Shock are in terms of managing their resources. I think the Spark, that's what they need to work on, doing that in a faster manner. Like, you know, you can't have the shield getting broken from Gushui, and then you're not even close to the point. And then, you know, the mech's getting knocked down. There were points there where you had like the 3 players just weak, just standing around corners, just waiting for this to happen.
If there was any moment where Rhea is out in the open and Sinatra's able to burn him down, then he will do that. It's kind of tough because as D.Va, you don't really want to spend your time hiding behind Reinhardt's shield. You have mobility. You want to get out there. You want to peel. You want to pressure backlines. But when the enemy Zarya is looking for you, you cannot do anything to mitigate Zarya's left-click damage with Defense Matrix, so you are subject to all of it. Rialto, it's going to be our last map of the series.
Yeah, and yeah, you see this is the only, I mean, the map 3 was the only one that was really a blowout between these teams. Shock we were able to complete Eichenwald. The Spark did not even take point A, you know, to unlock the payload, but here on Escort, they won't need to have to worry about that. They'll start with the payload. Good news there for the Spark. Bad news is Shock pretty good at this map.
Yeah, they have been quite successful on it, 3-1 so far, and I mean, yeah, it was incredible to watch them play this one against Vancouver in the Stage 1 playoffs. That was such an exciting map. So kudos to the Spark in general, though. Over the course of this series, they've given us a lot of good games. I think map 3 for them was a letdown. I think that's where they let it get away from them. First maps were excellent. I do want to see them now that the series is essentially decided, lean into that aggression a bit more. Let's see if you can start to stress San Francisco's healing resources. It's hard, though, if the Shock in the previous match are playing Batiste, but now they've got the brick.
Yeah, and I think the thing that really kind of throws it off, the Spark looked good against the Shock when it was just kind of mirrors with the Brigitte. I think the Batiste really throws them for a loop because it's just so much extra damage onto players all over the map.
And the healing's more consistent too.
And I don't think that the Spark kind of accounted for that, where the other damage coming down through. I think in the matchup where it was Brigitte on Brigitte in terms of last support, I think it's definitely a bit better. But Gushui dies here early, so they'll have to run away.
Yeah. The Reinhardt shield got broken down, Matt. It's as simple as that. The Shock just front-loaded a bunch of damage. Now look, these two teams have essentially the same potential damage output. They use the same composition on both sides.
But you see how the Shock move, where Super doesn't have his shield up just kind of marching forward. He puts the shield down, he's swinging, right? Like, you can't move in with the shield up. You have the Zarya bubble, you have the defense matrix, you have other things to use. Shatter comes out from Super. It'll be a Transcendence really quick here from Bebe.
And they saved Godspeed with that one as well, which will be important because that Graviton is coming. 5v6 now as the Shock did lose Moth. They got caught out a little bit. What can Sinatra do here? Hey, he'd love to go for Rhea, but again, time is of the essence and they're getting pressured down by the front line. Super's very low. The Fire Strike was enough to break the bubble and remove the Reinhardt. Nice peel for Gushue here. He's eventually going to drop down, though. Somehow, he's been able to hang around, and Godspeed's Graviton Surge get eaten. All of a sudden, the Spark turn tail and run. The Shock are back with 5.
Yes, now looking good for the Shock to potentially take the point. Is you just have Rhea who has to get on it. He's going to get chunked down his mech rather quickly. Do you have the self-destruct available here?
Oh, Gushue gets there just in time to try and block this one. He does. He also gets an Earth Shatter.
Shatter, yeah.
Knocks Sinatra down. Oh, self-destruct. There is Rhea. He gets Moth. And the San Francisco Shock, I don't know if they can keep pressuring this. They will remain because Super is here, but it doesn't look great.
I mean, Moth getting close to Sound Barrier. I mean, they could Transcend if they really feel confident about it. They're going to use the Rally here and Transcendence, so they double up in terms of support ults. You do have a Sound Barrier on the backside of this if need be. Oh, he's actually stuck on the other side of the wall.
Yeah.
Won't connect with anybody.
Even a Moth Sound Barrier there, it wouldn't have connected on towards anyone. He was out of line of sight of the healing as well, but it doesn't seem to matter. A late Sound Barrier still gets the job done. Spark looked better here, absolutely. Gushue just rolls up and lays down a Shatter, and they're able to get that self-destruct kill. That was very RCK, sending it through the arch over the top.
I just think, you know, Super, when you watch him play, it's just, he's extremely, extremely aggressive. And I think he just has a great presence of knowing when to shield up, when to put it down. And I think it really revolves around, like, do I have my Harmony Orb? Is there a Discord Orb available? Do we have Bubble? Do we have Repair Pack? How much Matrix do we have? I think it's just
exactly how much damage you can take.
It's knowing all those things, knowing how much damage you can take and still be able to survive while moving forward. Yeah, look, like, I mean, he's just getting swung into right here. I mean, there's no reason for Super to put a shield up.
Well, I think the Spark would like to use their shield right now. It may not really matter, though. Gushue tries to crack back with an Earth Shatter. That's very effective. It hits Sinatra and Choico, but Super is able to clean that one up there pretty comfortably.
When Gushue gets that bubble and Super's right in his face, he may as well swing because that would force out the bubble or Repair Pack from the San Francisco Shock. When you're just standing there with the shield up, you know, you're not really kind of forcing the issue out of anything. But
oh my gosh, that's so filthy!
Nice play.
This time the Spark walked into that one. They had to use their Repair Pack very early because Godspeed took a face full of Fire Strike. It didn't have his personal bubble. And this is looking pretty one-sided now, Matt. The Shock just taking advantage of the Spark's uncertainty.
I mean, look, you know, they played really strong in the Stage 1 finals against the Vancouver Titans on this map. I expect them to be strong here against the Spark. See, already we're down to, you know, from point B to point C here with, you know, almost, it was almost 4 minutes plus. As Sinatra did switch over to Sombra and then came back on Zarya just to get back in the fight to try and get it over the line. So he'll be starting down at 0 in terms of all build-up.
Self-destructs. Nothing from that one. Rhea attempted. Gushue was stunned up and taken very low for a moment, but Bebe comes to the rescue with the Transcendence. Super trying to swat flies, but IDK's not hanging around long enough for that to happen. There'll be another Shatter coming after him soon. Okay, I like this quick rotation. Is it fast enough, though? Oh, look at this. Pushing into the room, getting out of that choke. Stunned up, though, while Super tries to go for the Shatter. He does get a Sound Barrier, so he doesn't actually lose his life as a result of getting interrupted there. But he still needs to find these kills. Gushue gets a bubble. Oh, no, he's not going to survive that one. Too much pressure. The Shock just never let up. They keep going and going until there's nothing left. And they circumvent the main choke by going around to the left-hand side. And, baby, that's not going to work. Bro, Violet saw straight through that. And the Shock get there with a huge amount of time to spare.
Yeah, that was a blowout there. The Shock looked really strong on Rialto. Obviously want to keep that map win streak going. And I think you just see, I think if you're the Spark, I think you look at a lot of this footage and you're really happy about it. And I think you look back at this last map, at least from the Shock's offensive attack, and it's like, this is the team we want to be. This is the play style we want to incorporate. I feel like that one was pretty rough. The second half has been all shock thus far.
And we'll need to see what the Spark can bring back on Rialto, because 3 minutes and 3 seconds.
It's an eternity.
So long. I think the Spark would have to be breaking some records to even sort of equal that. That depends on whether they finish the map or not. Again, this Gushui v Super matchup was hyped. It was said this is going to be one of the headlining matches, and you can see now just how that experience that Super has in playing this composition makes a huge difference to the rest of his team around him to support. Even without the, that extra healing. I mean, we know Batiste can heal a heck of a lot if he's just spamming those grenades in. Can make a difference. But even without that, the Shock are managing their resources very well. It's almost like Super's running an algorithm in his head, right? The amount of damage he's taken sort of dictates where he stands or how close to the enemy he stands. He just plays it very well.
And I feel like, maybe the Spark could work some things out where Crystal could run the Batiste, kind of like how we see Rascal do. Crystal, we talked about how good he is, like on the Widowmaker, right? And, we've seen him do really nice things on the DPS role, damage dealers. Why not let him try his hand Batiste? So I also think when you see Gushui move in with his shield and he's just kind of moving up, I think that's when you see it's going to go time for the Shock. Like, they just run him down. They just run at him, swing.
He's probably scared of getting discorded, Matt. That's the thing. Violet just sticks the purple ore to him straight away.
Let's pay attention to it here. Like, look, the bubble comes out pretty early, so...
Yep. No, there isn't one. So, Gushui can't really play aggressively now.
He'll probably have it for this next choke point, though, so...
Yeah. Gushui just, hide in that little corner. They can move the payload up while breaking line of sight simultaneously, take the high ground. Yeah, I mean, I like that. You sort of leave Ria on the low ground. Gushui as well being left on the low ground. Interesting. Trying to take advantage of Shock looking elsewhere. The payload's not going anywhere, though, really.
But right around this corner, though, right? Like, you can use the corner to body block if you move on the left side of the payload, where you don't necessarily need to use the shield right away. You can swing, use the corner as a little bit defense, and then move around, use the shield. Like, you see Super pushing around the corner, no reason to shield up on the opposite side.
You don't want your shield poking around the corner if your character model is. You're not actually doing anything to protect yourself. Maybe if a teammate is there, I guess there's a reason for it. Some players do it so they can see around the corner, just with the camera angle that you get when you shield up, you zoom back a little bit. Again, look at his trades. Gushui's shield is completely bunk.
Yeah, and I mean, Super didn't even use his. He's just kind of dancing around waiting for his shield to be gone.
Wow, just way ahead in terms of the mind games here. But Super does go down. Eventually the Spark switch gears and they focus on towards him. Gushui stunned up, but he's standing in Transcendence, so I don't think he really cares too much. That shield is broken, though. Here comes the grab. Another one eaten by Choi! This guy just keeps them coming. I don't know where he puts them all. Must have a big old hatchback there. Feel like that cheeky Toyota Corolla. All that space. Nowhere to go. Rascal and Super, though, do go down, and eventually the Shock succumb.
As you do get the final push over the line here. As the one more player struggling. Yep, there it is. For the Sparks. They do take point A, but... See, if they would have to set a blistering pace here. As Super gets the front spawn, gives a little hello. He wants to go back to the rest of his team. So you will get some payload progress here for the Spark.
The Shock definitely want to focus on this next part of the defensive round as the most important. They have the high ground. There are a lot of corners here. In fact, there are 2 corners in very quick succession, which create a lot of opportunities for the defenders to make use of the high ground and also mitigate damage by sort of just ducking behind the corners while keeping the payload contested.
And Choi Open right now, 4 ultimates negated for the series. Record is 6. I believe we saw that from Fury. So this looks a little bit better, right? They force the repair pack out. Super's low. Now they're able to make this around the corner. Like, this is where I feel like they need to be aggressive, not let the Shock get the high ground rather quickly. IDK going up there, trying to get the boost down.
The Shock will try and drop down here, and they have done so. Godsby kind of force back a little bit here. Super, that shield looking a little bit low. Push back into a corner, booped in the other direction. Oh, IDK, I saw that. That was nice. Super does get discornered, but standing inside the Transcendence. Now the Graviton Surge coming out from the Shock. Sound barrier from IDK just to try and help things. And Super eventually gets brought down. It took Crystal and Gushui, but they'll take that. Now at the grab, Moth can't go anywhere either. Self-destruct, but this one is very telegraphed. And the Spark won't be too bothered by it at all. And they're doing a good job by staggering this fight out, Matt, because the payload is moving the entire time.
I mean, Rascal still have IDK with a nice boop there on the Violet. Super comes back in the action. So I think the San Francisco Shock, they want to challenge this. They don't want to give this up for free.
What do they
know the Spark would have a ton of time.
Sound barrier, that's what we're going to use in 5 players. Super does get his shadow available. The Shock might be able to do this with Rhea desuited, the Hangzhou Spark have to pull the plug.
That's a tough one to lose right there. I mean, Moth coming in with that late sound barrier, but I mean, it's really set up by Rascal and Violet living for that long. And I know Violet does get booped off the side, IDK, but it seemed like the Spark were just so content with pushing the payload that nobody besides IDK really pushed forward to try and kill those two supports. If you push forward and you get the kill in the Zen and the break there, that push probably doesn't happen. Push back from the shot.
I figured that would stagger them out slightly and just try and make sure the shot couldn't return with a full squad. But when Moth returned and gives the sound barrier, then those two players that were looking like they would get staggered are also have 1,000 health. So can't really kill them from that point. All right, they've swapped places here. The do-si-do by the San Francisco Shock, and that's a big shatter, by the way. Gushue, Bebe all knocked down, but follow-up, not really there. Transcendence has to be used to try and keep Super alive. They need him in action right now, and the same will be done on the other side, but that's a burst damage kill by Super. The charge takes Crystal out, despite the Transcendence being there. Moth, oh, that's good high ground play there from Bebe. The damage was good, and Godspeed follows up with a finish, but Rhea has to demech here, self-destruct to get a new one. And looks like Troy Hoban's going to try the same thing, but can there be a kill? It can! It drops on top of Gushue!
And he gets the demech on Rhea as well.
Oh, gosh! Rhea spent a self-destruct for nothing just to get resuited, and he's lost that one. Thought Gushue threw himself on top of the self-destruct to protect his team, but he was the one, the chosen one.
So you are walking into another shatter here from Super. It seems like they haven't really... It seems like the Spark play here is instead of like trying to take the fight to them, they rotate around, they try and force them off the high ground and then play from the opposite side. So the Spark kind of take the angle of playing from where the defenders spawn from. So let's see, maybe I'm surprised they haven't tried something where they go up the stairs, right? Try and force the issue right inside of the top hotel, force them down that way, because this hasn't worked.
Yeah, the Spark trying to use, I guess, these archers to break line of sight, but doesn't seem to be great for them here. Here's the sound barrier for the Shock. Super did get shattered again by Gushue, but once more his team is there to protect him. Payload's not moving right now, and IDK realizes that he backs up a little bit, trying to at least keep pressure on. That's a shatter from Super. No one's hit by that one at all, though, but the support ultimates, Matt, they're about to run out for the Spark. They've used them all, and now the Shock have an even playing field to go for. Super playing the corner, swinging the hammer, trying to pressure off this payload. You can see he went to peel even to get rid of Rhea in the backline, but now the next ultimate could change the flow in his fight. That would have been Godspeed. He would have had the grab, and that could have changed the fate of the Spark, but now it's all gone wrong. They lost their main damage dealer, and Crystal soon after. Gushue finally lets go and heads back to spawn. He won't be returning, though, not in this match. And the Shock completed another 4-0, dishing out the fattest of L's to the Hangzhou Spark, and that map winning streak continues.
They keep the 4-0s coming in favor of the San Francisco Shock. It seems like they're quite relieved.
The PC shut down
With this one.
They clapped the Spark so hard that all their computers crashed at the same time.
Hey, I tell you what though, if you're the Spark or a Spark fan, you got to feel pretty good about how you play today. You know, the insider hit from Danny explaining that this is going to be the aggressive play style we see from them going forward, and I think it really paid off in the match today. Doesn't result in a win. You're going against one of the top two teams in the league, but still, I thought a very good game.
No doubt about it. That aggressive style that we're seeing hints of from the Spark will need to be tempered, Matt. They'll need to be forging that up against top teams like the Shock. Again, it's a matter of being able to manage those resources and keep your healing in a position that Gushue doesn't die first, or so on and so forth. The Shock, I mean, they've really been molded by this playstyle. They spent all of Stage 1 really working on it. Their organization made huge investments to ensure that they had the very best in each role, and one of those players is down on the floor right now with Danny.
Mitch and Matt, thank you very much. I am here joined by Cheobin from San Francisco Shock. Congratulations, amazing job. Now, I feel like this matchup was a little bit more special for you because you were facing off against your former teammates from X6. How was it like for you? Were you feeling a little bit extra motivated? How was it like for you? 아무래도 오늘 경기가 조금 더 최효빈 선수한테 좀 더 특별하지 않았나 싶어요. 예전 팀원들과 하는 경기였기 때문에 조금 더 특별하지 않았나 싶은데 최효빈 선수 개인적으로는 좀 어떻게 생각하시나요?
그 전에 팀이라서 저 오히려 다른 팀보다 훨씬 더 좋은 모습 보여주고 싶고 그래서 오늘